I feel the engine hum through the leather seat before I hear it. I tell myself to breathe like this is just another flight, just another lie. My hand rests on my stomach, not to comfort the baby, but to steady myself. The cabin lights are dim, expensive, soft enough to hide fear. Across from me, no one asks questions. No one ever does when money answers first. His voice comes through my head, calm, certain, rehearsed. Once the baby is born, everything changes. I force my lips into a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. I look out the window at black clouds swallowing the wing. Something in my chest tightens because I know this child will change everything, just not the way he thinks. The plane keeps moving forward, and so does the lie. If you're new here or you've been watching for a while, you're welcome. These are stories that don't shout but linger, stories that sound like whispers until they hit too close to home. Tell me where you're watching from as this unfolds. If you believe stories can still surprise you, stay close and consider subscribing. The jet disappears into the night as the story moves elsewhere. Silence replaces the engine roar. A mansion stands still under cold white lights. Emilia sits alone at a long dining table meant for 6. The chairs around her feel like accusations. Her phone lights up with a message she expected hours ago. Business trip extended, New York. She types, safe travels. She stares at the screen. She deletes it. She locks the phone and sets it face down. Her face remains calm, practiced, unreadable. Maria moves quietly through the study, careful not to leave fingerprints on glass or guilt in the air. Books line the walls, none of them opened recently. Richard Vale stands by the window, city lights reflecting off his cufflinks. His voice is low and controlled, like he's negotiating a deal, not a marriage. No calls from New York reach my wife. No packages. No mistakes. He slides an envelope across the desk without looking at her. The weight of it is clear even before she touches it. Maria hesitates because hesitation is cheaper than truth. She nods because nodding keeps the lights on. Richard turns back to the window, as if she's already gone. Lena's New York apartment is larger than most dreams and emptier than she expected. The walls are clean, modern, and silent. Luxury does not answer back when you talk to yourself. She sits on the edge of the bed as her phone vibrates. The call is late enough to feel dangerous. He still thinks it's his, she whispers. Her voice shakes despite the silk robe and the view. There's a pause on the other end. You told him you were exclusive. Lena lets out a short laugh that dies halfway. Men like him don't ask questions. They buy answers. She ends the call and stares at her reflection in the dark screen. Back at the mansion, Maria pushes open the guest room door with her cleaning cart. The room smells like fresh linen and secrets. A phone lies on the bed, speaker on, forgotten. Lena's voice fills the room before Maria can react. The billionaire thinks he owns my future. But the baby's father doesn't even know I'm pregnant. Maria freezes mid-step. Her hand tightens around the cart handle. The words hit her harder than shouting ever could. She waits for the call to end, but it doesn't matter anymore. The truth has already landed. Maria watches Emilia from the garden window later that afternoon. Emilia sits under a tree with a book she isn't reading. Sunlight filters through leaves and rests on her calm face. She looks like a woman with nothing to fear. Maria opens her mouth once. She closes it. Fear wins quietly, the way it always does. The secret stays where it is, heavy and breathing. The envelope slides under Amelia's door without a sound. Flight records spill out first, hospital receipts follow. A printed transcript sits on top like a final verdict. Amelia reads everything standing up. Her hands do not shake. Her breathing stays steady. Relief crosses her face, subtle but real. "So it's finally time," she says to the empty room. "I didn't find out today. I didn't even find out last year. I found out the first time he thought I wouldn't notice. Photos flash in my mind of hotel entrances and late-night transfers. Private investigators' reports line invisible shelves in my memory. Political donors paid to stay silent learned silence from me. I wasn't blindsided. I was preparing. Every lie gave me leverage." Night falls over the mansion again. Richard walks through the hallway, unaware of how close the ground is beneath him. Amelia closes her bedroom door and locks it. Her phone lights up with another message from New York. She doesn't open it. She sets it down and looks at her reflection in the mirror. The woman staring back doesn't look hurt. She looks ready. Morning arrives without warmth inside the mansion. Amelia wakes before the alarm, already dressed in calm. She moves through the house like someone visiting a museum she once owned. Every photo on the wall tells a version of the truth that no longer matters. Downstairs, Maria prepares breakfast she knows will barely be touched. Their eyes meet briefly. Neither woman speaks. Silence is safer than honesty for now. Richard eats standing up, scrolling through messages, already half gone. He talks about meetings, donors, timelines. He does not mention New York. Amelia listens, nodding at the right moments. She pours coffee she won't drink. "I may extend the trip," he says casually. "Of course," she replies just as casually. Their performance is flawless. I watch him from across the counter and feel nothing crack. That surprises me more than the betrayal ever did. I thought knowing everything would hurt more. Instead, it sharpens things. Every word he says now sounds like leverage. Every smile feels temporary. I am no longer waiting for answers. I am counting exits. In New York, Lena stands at the window watching traffic bleed into light. Her phone buzzes again. This time, it's Richard. He talks about names, schools, futures he assumes belong to him. She responds with practiced softness. Her hand tightens around the phone when he mentions legitimacy. She ends the call early, blaming exhaustion. Fear settles back into the room. Maria folds laundry with mechanical precision. The guest room still smells like expensive perfume. She replays Lena's words in her head, unable to unhear them. She thinks of the envelope now empty under Amelia's door. Her hands tremble just enough to notice. She stops, steadies herself, keeps folding. Guilt is quieter when you keep moving. Amelia sits with her lawyer in a private office downtown. The room is neutral, designed for secrets. She slides documents across the table without explanation. The lawyer reads, eyebrows lifting once. "Do you want to expose this now?" he asks. "Not yet," Amelia replies. "Timing matters more than truth. I don't want him ruined loudly. I want him ruined precisely. There's a difference. Scandal fades, consequences don't." I leave the office knowing exactly which thread to pull first. That night, Richard calls from New York. His voice is confident, buoyed by plans and promises. He tells Amelia he misses her. She listens without interruption. She tells him to take care of himself. After the call, she deletes the number from recent history, not out of anger, out of preparation. The mansion sleeps uneasily, Lights switch off one by one. Maria stands in her small room, staring at her phone. Emilia lies awake, staring at the ceiling. Miles away, Lena presses her palm against her stomach, counting breaths. 3 women connected by a lie that is still moving. And it hasn't reached its most dangerous point yet. I land in New York without announcing myself. The city doesn't care who you are, as long as you move fast enough. Emilia steps out of the car and looks up at the glass building where Lena lives. From the street, it looks like success. From inside, it will feel like pressure. She enters the lobby without hesitation. Lena opens the door expecting room service. She freezes when she sees Emilia standing there instead. No raised voice, no anger, just calm eyes measuring the room and the woman inside it. "May I come in?" Emilia asks. Lena steps aside without thinking. Fear does that to people. They sit across from each other at a glass table. The city hums outside like a witness that won't testify. Emilia studies Lena's face, her posture, her hands. "The baby isn't his," Emilia says flatly. The words hang there. Lena's breath catches. Her hand moves instinctively to her stomach. "You already know," Lena whispers. I watch her realize the ground isn't where she thought it was. That moment when panic searches for somewhere to land. I don't rush her. I let silence do the work. "But he doesn't know that, does he?" I say quietly. Her eyes fill, not with tears, but calculation. She nods once. Emilia lays out the deal without theatrics. Protection, money, a clean exit once the timing is right. In exchange, she wants proof, DNA results, testimony when called for, silence until then. Lena listens, hands trembling now. She asks one question. "What happens if I say no?" Emilia answers honestly. "Then you're alone." Before we go further, take a moment. If you're still watching, you already know this story isn't about romance. It's about choices and consequences. If stories like this keep you thinking after the screen goes dark, subscribe and stay with us. The silence in the room returns heavier than before. Lena breaks first. She nods, slow and defeated. "Okay," she says. Richard paces a hotel suite miles away, unaware of the meeting happening without him. He talks into his phone about donors and polling numbers. The future sounds bright when you don't know it's borrowed. He laughs at something a consultant says. The sound echoes longer than it should. Back at the mansion, Maria listens to news playing softly in the kitchen. Political headlines, speculation, nothing concrete yet. She turns the volume down when footsteps approach. She is living between 2 truths now, and both of them scare her. I leave Lena's building without looking back. The deal is done. The pieces are moving. From now on, no one gets to pretend this is accidental. The city swallows me as I step into traffic, and for the first time in years, I feel ahead of him. Morning light cuts through the New York skyline like it has no loyalty. Lena sits at the edge of the bed, staring at a cup of untouched tea. Her phone vibrates with messages she doesn't open. She presses both hands against her stomach, steadying herself. This isn't about love anymore. It's about survival. She reaches for the folder Emilia left behind and opens it again. The deal is real. So are the consequences. Richard's day begins with applause. A breakfast meeting turns into a strategy session. Advisors speak quickly, confidently. Poll numbers look promising. He enjoys the sound of his name spoken with approval. When someone mentions family optics, he nods without concern. "My wife understands sacrifice," he says. The room agrees. Power likes reassurance. I watch the coverage from a muted television in a hotel room. His smile looks practiced even through the screen. I know which parts of his life are real and which are rented. This phase always comes before the fall. The higher the confidence, the cleaner the break. I turn the TV off before the segment ends. I don't need reminders. Maria answers the door to a courier with shaking hands. No return address. She signs, waits, then opens the package alone. Inside are copies of documents she's already seen once, flight records, medical receipts, a note with no signature. Stay quiet. It's almost over. Maria sits down hard. Her loyalty has expired. Lena meets the doctor alone. No cameras, no Richard. The test is clinical and fast. She watches the vial fill with a calm she didn't expect. This is proof, not punishment. She signs consent forms without hesitation. When it's over, she exhales like she's been holding her breath for months. I wait outside the clinic, watching people pass like none of this matters. That's the strange part. The world doesn't pause for betrayal. When Lena hands me the sealed envelope, I don't open it. I don't need to. Truth doesn't change depending on who looks first. Go home, I tell her. Disappear when I say. She nods, grateful and afraid. Richard calls that night, energized. He talks about rallies, endorsements, momentum. He says New York has been good to him. Emilia listens, pacing slowly. She asks about his return date. Soon, he says. It's the vaguest promise he makes all day. She wishes him luck. She always does. Maria watches Emilia hang up. The silence afterward feels heavier than shouting. I should have told you, Maria says finally. Emilia looks at her, not unkindly. You did? Emilia replies. Just not with words. Maria swallows hard. The relief hurts more than the guilt. The city lights blur past as Emilia's car moves through traffic. Everything is in place now. No speeches, no confrontations, just timing. I lean back and close my eyes for a moment. The hardest part isn't revenge, it's patience. And I've waited years already. The rally is louder than it needs to be. Flags wave, music swells, faces glow under stage lights. Richard steps forward like a man who believes applause is proof. He smiles wide, practiced, familiar. Cameras lock onto him as he raises his hand. This campaign is about family, he says. The crowd roars approval. I watch from the edge, unseen, counting every word he'll regret. Backstage, advisors swarm him with praise and reminders. Poll numbers are up, donors are calling, everything feels aligned. He adjusts his tie and checks his reflection. This is the version of himself he likes best. Untouched, unchallenged, unaware. I sit in the crowd and feel nothing when they chant his name. I remember the first time he promised me honesty. That memory doesn't sting anymore. It informs. This is the moment before impact, when everything still looks stable. People confuse noise for strength. I don't. The news breaks quietly at first. A journalist refreshes a page. An editor freezes mid-sentence. Documents begin circulating faster than anyone can stop them. Flight logs, expense reports, medical billing trails. The story writes itself once it's free. Maria watches the television from the staff room. She recognizes names, dates, places she cleaned around. Her hand flies to her mouth as the anchor speaks. "This just in," the voice says. Maria sits down slowly. The secret is no longer hers to carry. I feel it when his phone stops buzzing with congratulations. Silence spreads faster than praise ever did. I step out of the crowd before the panic reaches the stage. This part doesn't need me present. Gravity handles the rest. Richard's smile falters when an aide whispers in his ear. Another aide interrupts. Another. His eyes flick toward the cameras, then away. The applause fades into confusion. He clears his throat and grips the podium. For the first time, he looks unsure. I don't watch the rest live. I know how this plays out. Denials first, then explanations, then silence. The order never changes. I sit in the car and let the noise of the city replace the noise of lies. By nightfall, headlines are everywhere. Fake paternity, abuse of power, public funds misused. The words feel heavy even through glass screens. Richard's name trends for all the wrong reasons. The fall isn't dramatic, it's efficient. Richard's office empties faster than it ever filled. Advisors stop making eye contact. Phones stop ringing. Screens glow with headlines no one wants to read aloud. He stands at his desk, gripping the edge like it might anchor him. "This is a misunderstanding," he says to no one in particular. The room does not respond. The DNA results surface before his statement does. Clinical, unemotional, final. Experts explain percentages on television with calm authority. The baby is not his. The truth lands harder because it doesn't raise its voice. I sit at home watching the confirmation scroll across the screen. This is the moment people imagine feels triumphant. It doesn't. It feels quiet, like finishing a long task correctly. I turn the volume down and stand up. There's one conversation left. Maria packs her small suitcase with careful movements. She doesn't know if she's leaving tonight or tomorrow. She just knows things don't go back to how they were. She pauses at the doorway and looks around the room she's cleaned for years. Loyalty never protected her. Silence didn't either. Lena watches the same headlines from an anonymous rental outside the city. No luxury, no assistance, just distance. She places a hand on her stomach and breathes. For the first time, the future feels unscripted. That scares her less than before. Richard finally comes home. The mansion feels unfamiliar, like a property he's trespassing in. He walks through rooms that once affirmed him. Now they echo. Emilia waits in the living room, seated, composed. She does not stand. "You destroyed me," he says without greeting. His voice cracks on the last word. I look at him and feel no urge to defend myself. "No," I say. "I just stopped protecting you." The sentence lands between us and stays there. He searches my face for regret. He doesn't find it. He turns away instead. The man who needed witnesses now has none. I remain seated until his footsteps disappear upstairs. Closure doesn't require noise. Outside, the gates close behind his name. Inside, I exhale slowly. The fall is complete, but the story isn't. Not yet. I stand and turn off the lights one by one. Morning settles over the mansion, like it doesn't know what happened here. Emilia walks through the bedroom packing slowly. One suitcase, no rush, no anger, clothes chosen for usefulness, not memory. She leaves jewelry behind. She leaves photos behind. She keeps documents and a single framed picture of herself alone. Downstairs, Maria waits by the kitchen doorway. She has slept very little. Her hands are folded like she's expecting judgment. Emilia enters without surprise. "I'm leaving today," Emilia says. Maria nods, throat tight. "I know," she replies. They share a moment that doesn't need forgiveness spoken aloud. I look around the house one last time. This place taught me how easily comfort can become a cage. Every room feels smaller now, not because I changed it, because I outgrew it. I zip the suitcase closed and feel lighter than I expected. Richard stays upstairs. He does not come down. He does not ask her to stay. Pride and shock keep him still. From the hallway, he listens to the sound of wheels crossing marble. It's quieter than he imagined loss would be. Before we continue, take a second here. If this story is still holding you, subscribe now and stay connected. Stories like this don't rush their endings. They earn them. Outside, the car waits. The driver opens the door without questions. Maria walks Emilia to the front door. "I'm sorry," Maria says finally. Her voice cracks this time. Emilia pauses, then turns back. "For what?" she asks gently. "The lie," Maria says. "Or the truth?" Emilia replies. Maria has no answer. Emilia steps outside. The door closes behind her with a soft final sound. She doesn't look back at the house. The air feels different beyond the gates. Unowned, unmanaged, free. The car pulls away. Through the window, the mansion shrinks into background detail. Emilia watches it disappear without blinking. There is no victory speech waiting in her head, just quiet and control returning to where it belongs. I rest my head against the seat and close my eyes. Power didn't leave me when I walked out. It followed. Not because I took something, because I finally stopped carrying what was never mine. The city looks different when you're not running from it. Emilia steps into a quiet apartment with bare walls and clean light. No staff. No schedule posted by someone else. She sets the suitcase down and stands still, listening. Nothing hums except the refrigerator. Nothing waits except time. Across town, Lena signs paperwork under a different name. No cameras, no assistants hovering. The pen feels heavier than it should. She pauses once, then finishes. This life will be smaller. It will also be hers. She folds the papers carefully and puts them away. Maria walks out of the mansion for the last time at sunset. She locks the gate and hands the keys to security without ceremony. The house looms behind her, quiet and uninterested. She exhales and keeps walking. Some jobs don't end. They release you. Richard sits alone in his study, surrounded by things that no longer answer him. His phone lights up with legal notices and missed calls. No one asks how he's doing. He stares at a framed photo on the desk and turns it face down. Power leaves differently than it arrives. I unpack slowly, placing things where I can find them later. There is no rush to rebuild. There is no one watching. I open the window and let city noise in. It doesn't feel intrusive anymore. It feels honest. News cycles move on like they always do. A new scandal replaces the old. Richard's name fades from headlines. The story settles into courtrooms and footnotes. That's where consequences belong. Quiet, permanent. Emilia walks alone through a crowded street without being recognized. No one steps aside. No one stares. She blends in easily now. That anonymity feels earned. She keeps walking, hands steady, pace unhurried. I stop at a crosswalk and wait for the light to change. For years, everything in my life moved on someone else's signal. Now I decide when to step forward. The light turns green. I move. If you stayed until here, you already know why this story matters. It's not about wealth. It's not about betrayal. It's about choosing yourself when silence stops protecting you. Subscribe, like the video. Leave a comment and tell us what moment stayed with you. Stay connected. More stories are coming.